Thank you very much.
All right, everyone, we are taking you out live to the Mesa Police Department, where there is a protest following the news coverage in regards to that graphic video yesterday. Let's listen in.
Our police department to come forward. As a citizen of Mesa, as someone who serves this community, loves this community, I took the time out today to say, we are better than this. The community's better than this. The leadership should be better than this. So I call our leaders forward and ask them to continue to serve with honor and integrity. So what that means, that looks like justice. That looks like being quick to change the wrong and to actually correct the wrong that's happened to this young man. When I saw the video, I was shocked. Not because this shouldn't happen here. This should not happen anywhere, because justice should prevail. Our officers are responsible for serving even those who they arrest. That young man's rights were violated, and I'm here today to say we are better than this, and I stand with the few that's here, but we stand for the many who believe that Mesa as a city is better than this, will do better for that, and as a leader of this community, I call for better for this. Thank you so much for listening, for all the people who are here. Thank you for showing your faces, because it's about faces being recognized, that our community is against police brutality. Our community is for justice and equality for all people, no matter the color. And as a black woman, I stand up for my husband, I stand up for my brothers, I stand up for all the men who are not being treated equal. Black lives matter also. So that's why we stand. That's why the movement continues. It is time that we as a people treat humans, all humans, even humans of color, with humanity. That's why we stand today. So thank you so much for listening, and this movement will continue, and we'll continue to call for justice until it's served. So thank you, Police Chief, for standing up tomorrow, taking swift action. Thank you for Mayor, all who I love and appreciate for your service. So it's time for leadership to stand up and lead.
All right.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
My name is Kelly Fryer, and I'm a candidate for governor of Arizona. And I'm here because I believe that Black Lives Matter.
All right.
What I saw in that videotape yesterday does not represent the finest of the police force here in Mesa or law enforcement across our state. But the fact that these kinds of abuses go unreported and that we have to rely on random video cameras in hallways of buildings to have the truth come out, I think is a violation of the most basic human rights and the most basic human decency, and it's wrong.
Absolutely.
I believe that here in Arizona, we have a responsibility and an opportunity to actually set the bar for human rights when it comes to law enforcement and our criminal justice system. We need to address the structural racism, the unconscious bias that is a part of our criminal justice system here in Arizona and across the nation.
Absolutely.
I hope that what has happened here, what is happening here today, will be the beginning of a new conversation that involves even more of us. I give so much credit and appreciate and honor the work of the activists who are standing behind me and on whose shoulders I stand, for always being on the front lines of what is right. But people of Arizona, we all have that responsibility.
Yes.
We all have that responsibility to speak up and to stand up for what is right. I'm calling on every single Arizonan to call the police chief here in Mesa, to call the mayor here in Mesa, to call our governor, and to say we will not stand for this kind of abuse. Black Lives Matter. I'm saying it loud and clear and proud.
All right.
Because too often because too often and for too long in the history of this state and our nation, black lives have not mattered. And it's time for that to change. What do we want?
Justice!
No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
We haven't had justice ever. And we continue to see officers abuse their badge. We continue to see officers abuse, on this side?
No, hold it out there.
Hold it outside.
Yeah, hold it out.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can everybody hear me? Everybody hear me? Mic check, mic check. We've seen too many times.
Hold, please. Hey.
All right, on this side. Everybody else had it right. So wonderful. We've seen far too long, too many videos, too many internet, cell phone videos, too many videos of motorists, black men, black women, black children, men of color, women of color, being abused by law enforcement officers. Yesterday, we saw probably one of the clearest examples of police brutality and police violence against an unarmed citizen. The young man was checked. He did not have a weapon. He did not put his body on the line or to harm the police officer. However, he was victimized by 5 point-blank punches to the face, not rendered unconscious. We do not know what that condition is now. However, this is not the first time that the Mesa Police Department has been violent against its citizens. We were here in 2015, and we discovered that Mesa Police Department had discriminatory practices and profiling practices that escalated beyond Ferguson, Missouri. We studied the Mesa Police Department, and we found a number of disparities amongst racial profiling, amongst police shootings, police killings. There are a number of police killings happening that have happened in Mesa that many of you probably don't even know about. And so we need to understand what the culture is. We need to understand what this training is. Not just the black community, even the Muslim community has rendered complaint against the Mesa Police Department because of training that the Mesa Police Department has accepted from outright Islamophobes, Muslim haters, and bigots. So basically, we have to render an investigation into the Mesa Police Department, into the entire community, the law enforcement community here, because we've seen time and time again that the practice is biased. The practice is deadly, especially if you are a black male or a man or woman of color. We are not going to tolerate it. We are not going to be silent about it. We have had conversation with Chief Batista, and Chief Batista has given us his word that he is going to render discipline on the officer in charge, the officers that have been charged with these crimes against this unarmed young man. We've also been in contact with Mayor Giles. Mayor Giles wants us to understand and believe that this is not who Mesa is. I'm sorry, but we've got evidence proving otherwise. We've got evidence showing that you can come to Mesa and get pulled over and be killed. You can get off on the light rail and be killed, or you can be standing on your phone minding your own business and assaulted by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many officers were out there?
Too many.
6 officers for a domestic violence charge. So we plan to continue to hold Mesa's feet to the fire. We continue to have the police department. We want to have the police department held accountable. We're going to hold our elected officials accountable. We are going to hold the community accountable, because once again, if you see something, you better say something. If you see the police officers doing wrong, if you see the police officers ganging up on someone, I encourage you to pull out your cell phone. I encourage you to record that incident. I encourage you to not just report it to the police, because now if the police are turning into gangs, who are you going to run to when you have an issue with the police? So we must police the police. We must keep our eyes open. We must keep our phones out. We must record. We must document all of the incidents that we see. I encourage everyone who sees this to reach out to organizations like the NAACP. Let us know that you have an encounter with the police or your rights have been violated. We want to know that. We want to hear from you. You have the right. You have the right to report the officers. Get the officers' information. Make sure that they know that you're not playing, because you have a right to survive an encounter with the police. I'm sorry, but there are too many people not surviving encounters with the police. And until that happens, we will continue to scream out. We will continue to sing out. We will continue to shout out, no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
no justice,
No peace.
So if you see something, you better say something. If you see something, say something. If you see something,
Say something.
If you see something,
Say something.
If you see something,
Say something.
That's right. And the police aren't always the good guys, ladies and gentlemen. We got to understand that. Mike, Imran, hold on.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Imran Siddiqui. I'm the Executive Director of the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE Arizona. And as Brother Roy just said, just a few days ago at our Ramadan event, we were talking about systemic issues that are taking place in places like Mesa, where this police department brought in an anti-Muslim law enforcement trainer named John Guandolo to give a paid training at this police department. And what does this do? This type of systemic anti-Muslim training results in unfair policing. What does treating black people as criminals first and citizens second do? It creates unfair policing. So this is not happening in a vacuum over here. We need to make sure that the officers who are responsible for this, not only the one who was actually punching the individual in the face, you see that this individual was unarmed. He was punched in the face 5 times. There's no reason for an unarmed individual to have basically MMA moves being used on him as he's being subdued for not even committing a crime. So the people who are standing watch and doing this, standing by as this was happening, should be held accountable as well. This is about police accountability. This is not about demonizing the police. We've had a good conversation with MESA PD in the aftermath of the anti-Muslim trainings. They said that they're not going to bring this anti-Muslim trainer again. So we need for them to say that we're not going to treat our black community like this anymore. This is unfair. This is one of the largest cities in Arizona, and it is unacceptable to be punching an unarmed individual who is not suspected of a crime in the face. And we hope to hear something soon from MESA PD on how these individuals are going to be disciplined. Thank you.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
My name is Michael Ingram. I'm one of the co-chairs of Black Lives Matter Phoenix Metro. This is my second protest today dealing with police brutality. I'm going to say this again. This is my second protest today dealing with police brutality. The video that we all saw was horrific, but the most alarming thing is that it went unnoticed and undisciplined until someone else from the public stepped up. So when the officers lied on the report, all of them, nothing was done. When there are people who complained about this, nothing was done until there was video evidence confirming this individual's story. That is wrong. The police department works for us. Their job is to protect us and serve us, not beat us because we don't do things fast enough, not kill us because they're unhappy with what we do. This is our daily existence. We are literally crying out on a regular basis that we don't want to die, and we are getting silence. The police department is complicit, and the chief thinking this is unacceptable is right. What he isn't thinking is MESA, I'm going to say this again, MESA had worse arrest discrepancies than Ferguson, Missouri. That was the last report on the MESA Police Department. They have not addressed this. They won't even discuss whether they have taken steps to resolve this. So far as I'm concerned, they are continuing on the same racist path that leads to the consistent death and abuse of black people and the death and abuse of all citizens of MESA. Black people are the poster for this. We're not the only people abused. This is not an issue for black people. This is an issue for everyone, because they're not listening to us.
Hallelujah.
And I tell you this now, there's a system called IA Pro. Everyone should write this down. IA Pro. IA Pro will allow you to look up the discipline record of any officer in MESA PD. The fact that we don't know the discipline record of all the cops involved, 7 of them. 6 were involved, 7 watched. And officers who are watching are just as culpable. Find out the discipline records. If you are keeping bad police, you're a bad police department. If you are protecting bad police, you're a bad officer. If you're ignoring and turning a blind eye to them abusing their power, you are a bad officer. How are we supposed to trust you if you can't even police yourself?
All right.